Welcome back to Talk Therapy.
Episode 4.
Nice. Topic today is moolah, baby.
Yes.
Or money, whatever you want to say. As you guys know, if you have watched our episodes, we always start with the definition of the topic of which we're discussing. So today it is moolah. So the definition of money, before you hear this, write down in the comments. What do you think the definition of money is? What is money to you? All right. Definition. So it's a current medium of exchange in the form of coins and banknotes. Coins and banknotes collectively. So, for example, used in a sentence, it says, I counted the money before putting it in my wallet. So, to break this down really quick, all it's really saying is money is just a form of exchange. So, for you, if you get money, somebody has something that you want, it's just a form of exchange. So you're like, the amount of money I have is worth whatever they're offering, and then you exchange it. The currency is just a medium form of exchange that everybody uses.
Nice.
What are your thoughts on money?
So actually, I'm the one that chose the topic today because I wanted to talk about money because it's public information now, so now I can share it with you guys. I testified against the guy that robbed me a couple days ago, and shortly after they found him guilty. I'm so happy. It is all over the internet. He is getting charged with up to 20 years and a massive fine, and I'm just so happy. And why this relates to money is because he robbed me. He took money from me, and that was an exchange as well, but it was not a voluntary exchange. So yes, great news. But anyways, back to money. So actually what I wanted to ask you about money, leading from that, is do you think if there was no money, there would be no crime?
No, because for me, I feel like if there's no money, there's always going to be a different form of exchange. And that's why I wanted to say the definition. So let's say money didn't exist.
Yeah.
Well, before money exists, people traded gold, silver, milk, cattle. That was a form of exchange because everybody wanted it.
Yeah.
So I feel like if there was no money, we would just find a different source or a different something to exchange
to want
that people would steal or try to get.
So
or crime would get created.
So there would be maybe less bank robberies or stuff like that because that's not our goal that we want to get that.
Yeah.
But there would be different forms of crime.
Yeah, because I feel like bank robberies in general, they want to do that for one. I don't understand why they want to do it, but I do and I don't. But I feel like they choose the bank because money is the biggest medium. You can exchange money for the most amount of things.
Yeah, like they could use the money to get maybe what they ultimately want. Yeah,
they don't want the money necessarily. They want maybe the way they're living to keep going that way, or they want a motorcycle. But if you have a motorcycle and you go steal a motorcycle, you might be able to get some money for it.
Yeah.
But you're still getting the money. You're not trading the motorcycle for a house.
But the thing is if you ultimately say wanted a motorcycle, then you wouldn't have to steal the money. You could just steal the motorcycle. And I guess that's why I feel like I get what you're saying with if what everyone wanted was a fan, then everyone's going to go steal the fans or whatever. But it seems like money is the center because I'm stealing it because I want money, or I'm stealing it because I need the money to get to something. So if we didn't need money at all in the world, then I feel like that crime would be I don't know how to explain what I'm saying because I get what you're saying too. Yeah. But it seems like money plays a role in the crime regardless, because I'm getting the money just because I want the money, or I'm getting the money because it's helping me get to what I want.
I feel like it plays a role, but it's also necessary because I feel like it also creates organization.
Yeah. Wait. So it does or doesn't play a role in crime?
No, it definitely plays a role in crime.
So if we took away money, there would still be crime?
I think so, yes.
Got it. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that we fully answered that question.
No, 100%. I just feel like it's also, somewhat necessary to have some form of exchange, and that's why it was created in the first place, because it helps create organization. But at the same time, having it, in my opinion, also helps bigger people or people that are wealthier that, there's a lot of conspiracies about. You guys can think of a couple. Control it, which is also, it needs to, there needs definitely, it's not a perfect system. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the rich get richer, the poor get poorer type deal in a lot of places. And you really have to work hard to try to break through that ceiling.
So then if there is no money, would there be more equality?
I feel like, I mean, this is all coming from opinion and my imagination, but I feel like if there was no money, the people that would have money would be the people that would be willing to take it from other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not money, but like people, like whatever they wanted. You know, I want her laptop. Well, I'm gonna just thank you. What are you gonna do about it? And those are the type of people that would end up running and having the most stuff.
Because, but we would start on an evil playing field. But those people that would traditionally be rich would have the mindset of I'm gonna take, therefore creating the different social levels.
Yeah, I mean, the way you just phrased it also popped another idea into my head. And there's also other people that might, you know, manipulative a little bit. That'd be like, you know what? I'll trade, you know, a hula hoop for your laptop. And I'm going to trick you into thinking it's a really good deal.
So would that be like bartering? Is
yeah, it's like a barter. Like, I'm going to barter with you, but always get the better end of the deal. So eventually I make more money.
And that's kind of like what you're saying. If there's no money, something else will be valuable. Yeah. And that's kind of like back in the day where like, oh, I have 3 chickens. That's really valuable to me. Yeah. So there's always going to be something that holds more value that's going to make you higher.
Yeah, and like a good example with your 3 chicken thing is be like, I'll go up to a horseman and be like, I'll trade you 3 chickens for a horse because I know he's hungry and he's eaten in a long time. Mm-hmm. Therefore, he's going to be more motivated because at this point in time, he might have 2 horses, but he has no food. Mm-hmm. So if I give him 3 chickens, he's going to be more than willing to give me a horse, but who got the better value? I did, because I can have that horse do a bunch of stuff for me.
It's true.
And my chickens, as long as it's not all the chickens and I, you know, counted my chickens properly.
Yeah.
They're just going to hatch more chicks, and before you know it, I have more chickens.
Yeah, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly, dude. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like if we had no money, humans would still attach value to something. I mean, think about it. Even with money, we still attach value to things.
That's true. Yeah.
I would be pretty upset if someone stole my laptop. Then that means I do provide or think my laptop is valued to a certain extent.
So then do you think that the people that aren't so materialistic, and not saying that your laptop is materialistic, but just generally speaking, the people that aren't naturally more materialistic would have an easier time being happy if there is no money, because they find happiness in, for example, small things. Like, you would be sad if your laptop got stolen, but that's like a materialistic thing. But say someone stole a picture of my grandma, there's not really much value behind it, but to me, like, that holds more value than any money.
100%.
So I feel like maybe the people that are able to find sentimental value in the smallest things and like don't need things to be happy, like, I don't know where I'm going with this.
No, I get what you're saying. I definitely understand what you're saying is like, value doesn't always mean there's worth to it of an exchangeable amount. Mm-hmm. You know, there's different forms of value, as I think you were going after, like sentimental value. Like, I would be sad if a picture of my grandma got stolen because, you know, it's my favorite picture. I don't have a copy of it. Maybe I should go get a copy of it now. You know, so if it does happen, at least I still have it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, those things, if things were to get stolen or bartered for, it would never be something that gets stolen or bartered for the most part, unless they're trying to do a personal attack, in my opinion. Like, I know he loves this and I'm taking it to shatter it. Yeah. Like, it would be direct.
That's true, because so it seems like a universal thing that holds value to everyone. Honestly, I do think everyone, because unfortunately the way of the world is money.
Yeah.
Is money. Money is the universal valuable thing. And then sentimental things are a step down lower because some people don't care or whatever. This is kind of a side note really quick, guys, but yesterday my client brought her dog and left the dog in the car, and she was asking us like, hey, is this a good neighborhood? Like, I don't want anything to happen to my dog. And we were like, yeah, you're good. So then while we're in there, she's talking about her dog. And she goes, if someone takes my dog, I'm going to go John Wick on their butt. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so funny, because if you guys haven't seen that movie, it's in the very beginning of the movie, something very bad happens to his dog. And like, that's why I like won't watch that movie, because it like breaks my heart. But I just thought it was so funny because it's like relatable. And like, that's something that's like valuable to her, but maybe someone stealing her car would not see the value in her dog. So I don't know. It was connected, but not.
I mean, I feel that. I feel like, honestly, if like we had Panda, which all of you should know. Panda, he's laying under the table right now, actually.
He's usually right here.
Yeah. If somebody were to steal my car and Panda was in it, as long as they like let Panda out of the car because they didn't want Panda, like I would be okay. As long as I had Panda.
Yeah.
You know, material stuff can be replaced and money comes and goes is like a good way that I think about stuff, but money comes in a lot slower than it goes, it seems, for the most part, but it's still always moving. It's always a cycle. So like a good rule of thumb that I've read is money that stands still does nothing. You should always be trying to do something with your money.
Like investing or...
And I think that goes into deeper stuff like inflation, you know, like if you have money in your savings account and then inflation goes up 10%, well, your money's worth 10% less now, even though it's the same amount because stuff costs more, like gas. Everyone saw the gas prices. You're telling me $15 an hour is going to get you a full tank that you need to go to work every day? No.
Even in the States that things are usually cheaper since we've been traveling more, I noticed that the gas is still expensive.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to me.
But, and what's crazy is, like, here was way worse where we live than, like, southern states. Like, even, you know, one of our buddies lives all the way across south, you know, in the, you know, by New York-ish area and Tennessee area, somewhere in there. And gas one got up to, I think he said, like, $3.50-ish.
I feel like that's expensive though.
It is out there. That is
like,
really expensive. But it's just crazy because it was over double that here.
No, it got to like I think like $7 out here.
Double.
No, and like I remember when I first started driving, it was like maybe like $1 to $2. Maybe like late ones, early like $2.
Yeah.
And like I didn't think that like it was like a privilege to get a full tank of gas on $20. Although it shouldn't be a privilege. Yeah, that's crazy because I was spending like $80 to fill my tank.
you know the truck?
Yeah, I mean, putting in perspective, I have a little Toyota and $80, and then he has a big lifted truck, and he was filling the gas tank like multiple times a week.
I had to fill it twice a week, and it was roughly anywhere from $120 to $140 per tank of gas. So I was spending roughly $1,000 a month on gas.
And you know, that's really crazy to think because I don't know about you guys. I mean, we're trying to do better about like budgeting and stuff, but it's like, at least for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, we don't have any money. But then like you think back, oh, I just spent $1,000 on gas. Like, where was I hiding that $1,000? But when you need it, you find it. And so I'm just like, it's just crazy to me. Like,
right.
Like if I knew we had an extra $1,000 a week, like we'd be doing bigger things.
Well, we'd be saving or something.
Instead, we're just living in California, wasting it on gas. So
yeah, love that. Love that. Speaking of budget, let's talk about that.
Okay.
That has everything to do with money, I think.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
What are your ideas on budgeting, and how do you personally budget your finances? I know we have a lot of stuff together and we pretty much do the same stuff for the most part when we can, but like, what are your personal thoughts on budgeting?
I think budgeting is huge. I feel like I'm better at budgeting when I want to do something.
You definitely are. I can agree with that. Like, you get it done when you have that in mind.
If I want to do something, I will do it, and like nothing else matters. I need to be better about budgeting in everyday life because I feel like growing up with not a lot of money, now that I make money, it's like, oh, well, I can just get this and this, you know? Like,
yeah.
And growing up, you're always told like, oh, that's too expensive. And now I can make the decision if it's really too expensive.
I opened your eyes to like steak every night.
Oh, no. No, but yeah, what I try to do though is because I feel like for me, an easy way to save is to trick myself. So
you manipulate? I said it like you. Manipulate yourself into saving.
Yes. So I'm so good. If we're going on a trip, I 100% can save. Like, I got my eyes on the prize. But everyday saving, we do have a joint savings account. But also, I do make tips. And so I try to save all my cash tips. I'll just put them to the side and not count them. Because at least for me, when I count things, I know how much I have. So like, if I'm like, oh, I have an extra $1,000 or whatever, I'm going to have that in my mind where like, if I don't have a lot of money, oh, I could just go grab for my 1,000. But if I just put all my cash chips in an envelope and just put them to the side and don't count, I have no idea how much money I have. And so for some reason, the unknown makes me want to save more because then I think, well, once I count, I'm going to have so much.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, you knowing less helps you more.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So the less you know, the more you save.
Exactly, and it's almost like out of sight, out of mind. Like, just do it real quick and put it away. It's not here, it's not there. And like,
it's like, yeah.
And like really like trusting in that. Like, I'm not like I get it. I get what it's like to truly not have money. Like, I've been there, but like also like not talking about extreme situations where you truly don't have money, but like if you have a job and stuff, I try to just tell myself like, you're in this situation because you didn't budget correctly, so these savings don't exist. Like, I will put myself, maybe this isn't good, but I will put myself in a bad situation where I will suffer until my next payday just so I don't touch my savings. Because I truly believe that if I budgeted better, I wouldn't have to tap into my savings. Like, there's only so many things that you truly need in this world, and that's like food and a roof over your head. And if we've paid rent, like, I shouldn't be just, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like that shouldn't happen. And if it does happen, 9 times out of 10, it's because I was irresponsible, not because I didn't get paid enough.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like what that breaks down to is like what all you should know is that budgeting can be individualized. Like, she found out what works for her at the end of the day. You know, so you need to like find your faults. Like, she found her fault. If she knows how much money she has, she's more likely to spend it. So what she do, she stopped counting. You know, find out like where you're spending the money and why you're spending it there and what's causing you being like, oh, I know if I have this thought, it's okay. Like, what are your justifications for spending excessive amount of money?
Right.
I mean, we all do it. I do it. She does it. I mean, everyone, all my friends have done it, you know, like, or do it. But that's what it comes down to, is you kind of have to find out what works for you. You can look online. Like, I looked up some simple budgeting things. I haven't looked at what it has to say yet. But that's like a base. Like, you can understand it, but it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Sometimes you need a tailored plan for you to see what takes you, to see what your triggers are to make you spend money. A lot of times emotional, you know, like, I really like that. I want that. That's going to make me happy. Like, no, it's not. It's going to make you happy once you swipe the card, but then when you look at your bank account, you're going to not be happy.
I feel that. Like, when I used to get really sad, I would online shop because it made me feel better. And then it's like Christmas when it gets delivered to your house, and then it's like, oh, I'm happy again.
Yeah.
But in reality, like, it's not happy because then you're in debt. Because also I learned that credit cards are not free money.
Yeah.
In the moment, it feels great. I got all this money, but that's another hard lesson we had to learn while building credit. Like, that's a whole nother subject, building credit. That should really be talked about.
No, for sure. It's not easy, but it is possible. And it's also not as hard as, like, I feel like people make it out to be. Like, when I was building my credit and I had to figure some really funky stuff out because I kind of put myself in a bad situation with a car that I got. I had to figure out a way out of it because I was underneath on the car and stuff like that. Well, all the research I did, people make it sound so hard to build credit, and like, you need to watch them because they have the special answer. No, it doesn't have to be that hard. You just have to make the right choices, because one choice can set you back farther than you want to be. That's with anything in life, but credit especially, because that stuff stays on your report, I think, for like 5 or 6 years. So if you like miss a credit card payment or, you know, any of that, you just have to be prepared before you go into it and actually, you know, maybe do your research, not just go in blindly. And that's kind of what I did, and I had to learn the hard way. Thankfully, I'm pretty responsible, and even when I was broke, I was able to pay all my stuff, so I was never late. But I got myself out of it. I figured it out myself. At the time, I was working at a bank, talking to all the loan officers there, and they didn't even know how to get me out of it. They basically told me, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is possible, you just have to want it.
I feel like the thing is, though, is credit is a huge thing and we don't get taught it. I mean, I feel like I learned about all this stuff in elementary school with junior achievement. Comment down below if you had that, because you said you didn't, huh?
What?
Junior achievement?
Nope.
And junior achievement, it was so amazing. It taught us how to write checks, all of that. But, you know, being in 3rd grade, I really didn't care. And I wish I would have revisited that back in high school.
Like, when it matters.
When I, like, actually, yeah. But I feel like credit is such a big thing in, like, buying a house, getting a car, renting a house. And I think that it's just unknown. Like, like you're saying, it's easy, and like once you do understand it, like, I understand the steps, but what makes it hard is because no one talks about it, and so it's like unknown. Like I don't even know where to begin. So like for example with me, I was thinking to do a separate credit video. Maybe we could, but I just feel like it falls into money. So like for me personally, like sometimes no credit is just as bad as bad credit. I mean, bad credit is definitely worse, but like no credit is the same thing because no one trusts you. And so what I personally did is I had someone co-sign with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's an option too, because I know that sometimes you won't get approved for credit cards or anything if you have zero credit because they have nothing to go by. So for example, my grandma had really good credit, and so she was able to co-sign with me on my loan, and I made the payments on time, therefore building my credit history. So just so you guys know, that's an option so you don't feel super lost. I wish someone would have given me this advice when I was looking to get a loan.
Mm-hmm.
All right, back to budgeting.
Back to budgeting. So I'm going to tell you guys just a really beginner budget. I feel like budgeting should be treated simple, kind of like evergreen, like basic white tees always look the best type stuff. Like you never want to get too complicated with it.
Yeah.
So a simple way is like number one, you should calculate your monthly income. How much money do you have coming in per 30-day period or monthly period? I mean, every month ranges a couple of days. Try the 50-30-20 rule. It's just a budgeting framework you can use. Allow 50% of your income for needs, 30% of your income for wants, and 20% of your income for savings.
Oh wow, that's actually really nice.
Yeah, exactly. So like that 50% would be like your rent, your bills, your cell phone, right? 30% is like, I want a Starbucks. I want a new pair of shoes, depending on what that 30% looks like. And then 20% gone. You're already done. And I would actually change that savings into an investment account. I would just put it into something that's low yielding, that's going to build over time. Because like I said, money standing still kind of does nothing, especially with inflation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with that 30%, you're still like, you can even switch that around too if you're feeling like you want to be strict. 30% into savings, 20% for wants, depending.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it comes down to what are you willing to do? What are you willing to get done? How strict do you want to be? How bad of a situation are you in?
Yeah, and that's true too. Not everyone can put, that much into savings or whatever. But I think, like you said, like it's about like finding what works for you, but using that as a general framework.
Exactly.
So then do you think, for example, you're married, you're in a relationship, should you both have a 50-30-20, or do you think we both have our 50-20-30, but maybe a piece of my 50 is going the same place your 50 is because we both live together? Or like, for example, I guess what I'm saying is we would have to have it together / separately, because if I'm putting 30% of my money into our relationship and 30% of my money into my own wants,
that's already
60%. So like, do you think like some of my wants would have to fall into some of your wants because we'd want to do some things together? Like that would be part of our budget because it's still the same. Like my money is still only this money. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying?
I do. I mean, I kind of think what we have going on is pretty good, and I feel like as long as you're like honest and you kind of should be, or like vulnerable, or like you're with your partner for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. Money kind of becomes secondary in a way. Like sometimes she has more money than I do, sometimes I have more money than she does, and we kind of cover. So I'll send her money if she needs it. She'll send me money if I need it at the time. Let's say I don't have enough, and at that point it kind of all blends together. So the 50-30-20 rule would just be applied to 200% because I'm 100, she's 100, or if we just make 100 together. So it'd be 50% of our income goes to our bills, 50% or 30% of our income goes towards our wants, whether it be something I want, something she wants, or something we want.
Yeah,
and then 20% of our income goes into our savings or an investment account. And sometimes you can separate that. Let's say that last 20%, she wants to save for something she wants to do because maybe she wants to buy me something.
Yeah.
Or I want to save something because I want to invest it. Maybe she wants to just save it and let it sit in a savings account. And we can agree, like, it's okay to have differences. Mm-hmm. So then I'll take my 10%, she'll take her 10%, and then we kind of part ways, maybe somewhat on the savings, or I take 5% and she takes 5%, and then we keep 5% together. There's so many different ways to split it. It's just like I said, it's individualized.
For sure. But knowing that you have a plan, and that's one thing that I feel like we don't have a problem with is money.
Yeah.
And I hear that that's like what breaks a lot of relationships is like money, children, and something else. I forget what the other one is.
Is it marriage?
No, I think that's like what ruins marriages.
Oh, got it.
Like money, children, and something else. We haven't like experienced the children thing yet. I have confidence in it, but I guess we won't know until we're parents. But as for money, like it just hasn't become a thing because, like you said, like it's not about like I never think like, oh, but you borrowed that money from me. Like it's not even like borrowed. It's just like it's ours, and like
teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, like I don't know. I just feel like I would never want my partner to feel like less than, or like I'm like, you know what I mean? Like I know that like say if Daniel's like struggling, like he doesn't want to ask for help. So then why am I going to make him feel bad about it? Like we're just, like you said, we're just a team, and vice versa. Like, I don't know. But with that being said, I also do think it's important to have your own money for situations like you said, like, oh, if I wanted to buy him a gift, like not necessarily be secretive, but like Daniel and I have our own bank accounts, like, but we also have joint accounts as well.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like I'm on board with that, with separate accounts, because like that just helps keep, like, I feel like in order to have a relationship work, you guys have to keep your independence. Not everything has to be merged.
Right.
I don't agree with everything being merged. That's a little overkill in my opinion. Like you're trying to prove something. I don't know what it is. Maybe you really do want to be that way. I just feel like personally for myself, it's unhealthy.
Especially we already have a joint. There's reasons that we have a joint bank account. Mm-hmm. There's a time and a place for rent, for bills. It makes more sense so we both transfer into that. But I don't ever want to be in a position where it's like, oh, I saw you spent this money. What did you do it on? Like, I don't want to feel watched over. And because we have our independence, I feel like it comes so naturally that I'm like, oh, like we have these conversations like, oh, this is a little expensive. What do you think about me buying this?
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, like if I said no, Daniel still has every right to still make that purchase. But it's about having that respect for your partner to at least consult with them so they know, hey, like I'm going to be making a big purchase.
Yeah, and like actually talk about it, not just be like, hey, can I do this? Or what do you think of this? You know, and then she says no, and then I'm like, well, screw it. I'm going to do it anyway. No, I'm going to be like, okay, why are you thinking it's a no? And that's where the conversation comes in, where you guys figure it out, and as long as you both are willing to hear each other's side of the stories, everything's good.
Right.
But I think that's the best simple way to budget, so you're not feeling restricted, you're saving, and you're covering your bills.